Right, it's Fulham Fix. Welcome back. We've got Collins John today, which is very exciting because anyone around my and Ivan's age, not saying we're exactly the same age, but around that sort of age,
Uh,
we'll have very fond memories of Collins John and
mm,
what a legend he is. And it's a really good chat. We did it with Jimmy Bullard ha simultaneously. So Jimmy Bullard's episode has started this podcast, but Collins, John, and him greeted each other with such warmth and stuff like that. But
yeah.
before we get to that, Ivan, you were at Spurs. Obviously, you're always at home games doing the announcing. It'd be bad if you weren't. I missed it. Tell me about it.
Oh, mate. I mean, we knew we were going to give them a good game, for whatever reason. Spurs in recent years, and when we're under Marco Silva, we play
Yeah, true.
a really decent, style, and Spurs struggle with us a bit. And, we absolutely played them off the pitch. We looked fantastic. 1-0 up from Muniz, totally a fair result at that point, and lovely to see Muniz score. Pereira was having a fantastic
Yeah,
day as well, and then icing on the cake. There are moments I think as an announcer, really special moments that I love to do, and they get thrown up every now and then, and obviously getting to announce Sessegnon just on the pitch in front of the Spurs crowd as well. I knew what that would do, and that was
yeah,
almost enough for me, and probably, well, I say for Sessegnon, but just having him come on and the crowd went nuts and they all started chanting, he's one of our own, and even the Spurs fans were applauding, and it was a really beautiful moment. And then, like a minute, 2 minutes later, to go up the other end, looked like it was done. He was battling with the ball, looked like he'd just lost it, but then to do a classic Cess move that we've seen so many times over the years, pinpoint, into the net. And oh, mate, I can't tell you, like, I've wanted, there's not one person at Fulham that does not want Ryan Sessegnon to flourish again. We know what he's capable of. We've seen him. And for me, like, he's really representative of a time. I'd started at Fulham on the mic, and it was tough. We had lost a lot. Under Felix McGat. There was times under Kit it was tough, and then he represents this kind of era where it got exciting and passionate, and he loved the club. He loved playing for the club. And we just want him to succeed. And then the way he scored, and I know it was because he was trying to not celebrate in front of Spurs fans, which is just classy, but it just looked boss. I don't know if you watch it back, the celebration, because he scores and then just starts strutting towards the
yeah,
hand. And
yeah,
it is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I felt it. I felt all that,
yeah.
the years of injury under Spurs, and even coming back to Fulham and not hitting the ground running, which we really all hoped he would. And you just felt it all in that moment, and it was epic. And I lost my voice. It's the best, man. That's
They
me.
look really beautiful. You know, it's been interesting actually with Ryan because it's felt like over the course of him coming back, he's sort of refinding himself,
Mm.
and it's almost been like incrementally getting closer and closer every time he comes on. And then just that moment, it felt like, oh, that's the Ryan Sessegnon we remember. Like that wasn't, we didn't dream that. He took it. That's the kind of player he was. And like you say, he's got a lot of time in the tank now, doesn't he, to be that player again for Fulham?
I think so. And I think now we're only going to see him get stronger, more and more confident. He seems the one thing maybe he didn't have so much of, back then because he was younger was the strength. He seems to be getting stronger and
Yeah.
tough, holding up the ball really well, and yeah, I mean, it really, and, just as a kind of throwaway, I mean, I don't know the exact amount of minutes he's played this season. I don't think it's many, maybe
No.
sort of 150 odd minutes all season in the Premier League. But 2 goals in 150 odd minutes, that's pretty good going.
I'll tell you someone who scored more than two goals in 150
Nice,
minutes.
nice. Good
It's
segue.
it's Collins John who was unbelievable when he came in, wasn't he? He was the thing I felt with Collins John, which was weird. I really felt like I was meeting an old friend,
Mm.
even though I sort of wasn't at all. He's got a very he's got a sort of joie de vivre about him. Like he's really sort of bubbly and big personality,
Yeah.
and the way he talks about Fulham, definitely the club of his career. And for people that don't know, his backstory is deep. So yeah, he fled. war-torn Liberia when he was very young, ends up at Fulham, plays close to 100 games for Fulham. That is the club of his career, as we
Yeah.
mentioned. Like he's got so much love for it, and we should let him tell the story, really, Ivan, don't you reckon?
Yeah.
Because it's a really amazing one, and he comes down to Fulham regularly. And I watched the game afterwards, alongside him, and he felt like he had that buzz for Fulham, that passion for it. And he was really reading the game in a detailed way, so it was beautiful. Anything to add?
No, everything you've just said, like you said, it's an incredible story, and he's just a lovely presence to be around. So
Come on, Fulham. Here's Collins John. Collins John, welcome to Fulham Fix.
Welcome.
How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Very good to see you at Fulham, mate. It's such. I mean, it strikes me that this is like a home to you, right? Fulham. It feels like that. I mean, we feel that way about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, yeah, always good back at this ground, and have a connection with the fans. And obviously, I was here for 5 years, so
Yeah,
a lot
5 years.
lot of
long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
a lot of
Big
had
part of your
happened,
career.
So a few different managers. I met a lot of people, and yeah, always great to be back.
We're in the new Riverside stand, and like obviously the ground is expanding, and the club probably has. Does it feel like a bigger club than when you came? But it was still like a very ambitious club when you first came as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just said to him, yeah, when I came over here today, also the last game against Arsenal. I mean, such a big difference, man.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I was here, it was great. It was family club, and you always felt welcome. But to come back over the years, a lot of things have changed, and it's always yeah, privilege to come and to see the club grow. So that's a great thing.
Of all the players that we've ever had on the podcast, or even any of the players that I'm aware of, your story of getting into football, of your journey to the Premier League is probably the most fascinating, heartbreaking, whatever you want to call it, story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you sort of read it in disbelief, and you think, "Am I reading a movie script right here?" Do you mind if we go into that a little bit and
No,
talk about that?
I don't mind. I mean, I'm a few years older now, so experience does a lot with you. So no, I was in what you said. It's been tough in the beginning of my youth. But I'm a man now. I have 2 kids, and my mom is good. Everybody's good. So yeah, I'm used to it now.
So, what are your memories sort of back at that point of how old were you when you left? It was Liberia, is
Yeah,
that
Liberia,
correct?
yeah.
And it was at that time it was in a kind of civil war. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
So, how old were you when you basically jumped on a ship out of there? Really?
Yeah, I was 6. So yeah, it was hard. It was very hard. Obviously, coming to Holland, come with nothing. With your 2 younger brothers. Yeah, like I said, now I'm actually talking about it. A lot of emotion comes with it. But like I said, it was a hard time. But in the end, we're all still alive and enjoying ourselves lives. And yeah, like I said, football gave me a lot as well. A lot of joy.
You did a lovely piece with Jeff, who's just standing behind the camera there, Fulham stalwart. But he was saying, you said in the piece that your family didn't even know the boat was going to Holland when you got on it. Is that right?
Yeah.
And at that time, were you into football? Are you too young to be into football or anything like that?
Well, I played some football outside with kids,
Right.
with nephews and different other people. But no, I was not really into football.
Yeah.
Like you said, yeah, we came with a boat and then we just got out in Holland, in Rotterdam.
Just arrived in Rotterdam?
Yeah, I just arrived in Rotterdam, knocked on the police door. They opened the door and, yeah, we started our lives.
And you must as well. You mentioned you got 2 kids. The reality of the situation and just kind of how heartbreaking, dangerous. I don't know, like just how it must feel once you had your kids, you realised what a thing it was that you and your siblings went through, and your mum as well.
Yeah, when you're young, you always think about, just playing. Enjoying life, and you don't really notice what everything kind of happened. And then when you become younger, 11, 12 years old, when I start playing football, then you see your mom going through emotions, and then you start to realize, okay, it's been tough. And then from that moment, you just switch on. And my focus was just to make her proud, and eventually that's what happened with football. And yeah.
And you joined FC20 young. You were 11 or something, weren't you? You signed for FC20. So you must have been very young. Suddenly, you must have shown a talent for football.
Yeah, if you went into it, you said 6, you hadn't shown any interest.
No, I started playing at school. Just kick about. And then one of my good friends said, come to this local club, just try. And obviously I asked my mom, can I play football? He said, no, you have to, concentrate on school. But, I just didn't give up. Just keep asking. And then eventually I got to football. Everybody saw the talent straight away. And then 2 years later, 20 picked me up. Stayed there for 6 years, made my debut. And 18 months later, Fulham
Chris
signed
Coleman
me.
gave you
Yeah, exactly. So that moment of 6 years, that moment of 6 years, it just feels like it was 2 weeks. It was so quickly.
Crazy. Well, can I just ask, like, when you were very young, were you a natural goal scorer?
Yeah,
I
didn't have, when you're young, you don't have a position. So the coach just threw me up front, just score goals and, just do whatever. And then obviously when Twente picked me up, I kind of knew, like, I like scoring goals. And, I became a striker.
Wow.
That's extraordinary, isn't it? Like, as stories go, such a short period of time.
Yeah,
as well.
It was. Looking back, that 6 years was crazy. Just playing and not really, being like focused to make it to the next round each year. Mm-hmm. Was just playing with joy and just make sure.
I was going to say, was that it? Did you instantly love it? Because if you had sort of not shown any interest, do you have memories of back in sort of, back from home, I suppose, originally? Like, were you watching, even as a kid, were you watching it on telly or anything like that?
No, that was later. When I was like actually hearing for every different corners, I was pretty good in playing football. Then obviously you start, watching football, start knowing certain players. Patrick Kluivert was one of my idol growing up, obviously from Baston, and Djibril Cissé, weird name, but I just loved the way he played. And then, you watch a match of the day every Sunday, because at Saturday it was too late. I had to go to bed. And then, like I said, 5 years later, you got a call from, your agent. Fulham is interested.
Yeah.
And City is interested. And I always had the feeling I want to be in the Premier League. And I've said the story a lot of times. When a phone goes ringing and Chris Coleman calls you up, it's only one answer. You can't turn that down. The story, everything was what he said behind was clean, and was very confident for me to come over. And Sahar leaving that time as well. Yeah. He just said, you're gonna get your chance. We're gonna bring you very slowly to the first team. It just sound amazing. And then Edwin from the start called me as a kind of like a Dutch guy. He just put me in a very hot bath at that time. So I was like, okay, he called me up. It's done. It's done. I want Fulham. So
did he say, like, if you're struggling, we'll watch Dutch TV?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. He said, if you're struggling or homesick, we got Dutch TV. We're gonna cook you Dutch food, and obviously my wife is here. Speak the same language. So that just felt great at the time.
And did you take him up on the Dutch cuisine offer or Dutch TV? At any point were you around his?
Yes. I actually, in the beginning, I even slept at his house for a few weeks as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Obviously, because the first 3 months I couldn't get a car. The looking for a house was pretty difficult at the time. I was not sure where to live. So, he offered me to come to his place, and he's been second to none to me at the time, and he was very good guy.
Did you say you came on your own to England?
Yes.
Right.
That was wow. That was a big step in my career. Leaving my mum with my 2 younger brothers was hard at the time. Very emotional, obviously, because I was the father figure in at that time in a household, because everything was through me. All the small salary I was getting at 20. I make sure everything was sorted there. So for me to, go on my own to London was a big blow. But at the same time, I had to do it. My mom also, I remember that day, she was like, I don't want you to leave, but you have to go. I was like, okay, if you say that, then obviously I have to go, because I was a little bit, even though I said to Chris Coleman, I'm coming, but seeing mom in tears, that does a lot with you. So that was hard that day.
Do you reflect on that? Sorry to interrupt, Ivan. Do you reflect on that? Because obviously one of the most moving things we found from doing this podcast at all with all of the Fulham names is that you get this collection of lives that come from all over the world, different backgrounds, and then are forming something really special. But it strikes me that your experience would have been quite a lot more intense than even, footballers that hadn't had the experience you had when you were young. When you flash back on that, do you think like, were you receiving all that information at the time, or were you just sort of living and going through it? Do you know what I mean? Like too
I
much
know
to
exactly
process.
what you mean. At that time, was too many things going on in my life, to be honest. Making sure I'm gonna make it here, making sure my mom is okay, making sure my second brother picked my position over.
Yeah.
I mean, football. Don't get me wrong. I never felt pressured when I signed. I just felt I'm just gonna play and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because I had too many other things going on at the time. I got the pressure maybe after year 2, year 3. When I got offered the number 9 shirt by Cookie, then I felt okay. I'm 23 now. Now I need to do it. But the first 2 years was unbelievable. It was great.
Yeah.
Just like you said, making sure all the funds I had going back home and make sure my mom is good, my brothers are good. Just set obviously in London. So yeah, it was special.
How much of do you put that down to Chris Coleman and how he looked after you as well? Because he was very careful about how he used you and about that being a kind of a gradual thing, realising what it is to sort of, he wasn't ever going to throw you in at the deep end. So that feeling of things being good and almost like a safe feeling coming here. How much of that is down to Cookie?
I still think till this day, if Coleman was longer at this football club, I would be maybe here for 10 years.
Wow.
Because we had a, even though, in between few things happened, of course, we had a few fell out, what nobody knows. was a time I was not playing and I wanted to leave. I knocked on his door and we had a big fight, but the love was always there, the respect was always there, and he was great. He was not a coach. Honestly, he was not a manager. He was a mentor for me personally.
Really?
Sometimes if he felt I was sad, he would come to me and say, CJ, are you okay? Nah, okay. You know what? Take 2 days off, go to your mom and come back. So all these little things really helped me at that time to settle. So Chris is a special man for me. Definitely.
Yeah, he had emotional intelligence, right, with people, basically, didn't he?
Yeah, very, very. He was excellent at picking if somebody needed help. Just tap on the shoulder just to make sure you're confident again. He was very good at that, honestly. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Ivan said that obviously he came to you and said, like, we're going to make this a slow thing, but obviously it doesn't happen as slowly as Edwin expected, because in the first game, you come off of the bench and score twice.
Yeah, Leicester,
Leicester win away from home.
I should have done that, man. I should have done that.
What have I done?
I just said it took me maybe year 2, year 3 to feel the pressure, but I lied. Yeah. That was after that game.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, scoring 2, the next game scored 2 again against Blackburn.
Yeah.
2 goals, 4 goals in 2 games. But again, then I played a few more games. I didn't score. Great. Cookie said, you know what? Season's almost over. We're going to relax now. Yeah. You're going to go to on the summer, come back after the pre-season, and we're going to crack on again. He was best at that. Right. He was so good.
Explain to us quickly, because like people like myself will never experience it, what the feeling is when you score a goal. Like, is there anything in life that's better than that moment, or like personally for you? Do you know what I mean? Like a mixture of emotions.
So funny you ask this, man, because every single time, if I would score a goal, my teammates will make a joke out of it. Rosinski and Zach, and Zesh Raymond. CJ, just calm down. You're also aggressive. And I would be like, you know what? Next time if I score, I gotta calm down. And then you score again, you lose your head again. I mean, it's crazy. The pump, the energy of the fans just catch you. Yeah. It's like you possess, honestly. It's a different world.
Do you think in those celebrations when you really went for it, when you were celebrating that hard,
I remember those.
Did you have almost in your head, or is this me going too movie script
too filmic, yeah.
Did you have your journey getting to where you were scoring that goal? Did you have that in your head?
Yeah, every single time, honestly.
Yeah?
Every single time when I score, I always got for my mother and obviously my father, what passed away. Because now I'm a dad. I have 2 kids. If they go to any sport, my oldest, she danced and she used to also play some football. I make sure I was always there to support her. Mm-hmm. So for me growing up, not having my mother here, because obviously she was back home with my 2 other brothers, but dad obviously passed away. I always felt I was by myself. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. the supporters, my teammates, was part of the family. But sometimes it's nice to have your family there, you know. So every goal I scored, I felt that kind of frustration, like I'm alone, just burst out in certain emotions to just let everything out. So that was most of the time. That was what catch me the most. So, but yeah,
it's so fascinating.
Yeah. But I always felt that though. Always felt every single goal. I was like I don't know, frustration.
Yeah,
I would be so relaxed if my mom was there, kind of have a little connection with her. But yeah, I was always with myself, man. Always with myself.
That makes you feel like it's almost like a sort of like Ivan says, to your past, whatever. But you're so fixated on your purpose and doing stuff and all that tension. It's the only time you really feel it is when that slight moment of alleviation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have that when you're watching football as well. Like that's why I think why football endures, because a goal. There's no better feeling in the world than a goal, like in sport, music, anything, because it's not predicted. And just that feeling of everyone's lives collecting just to sort of be euphoric for a split second.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Your guard's down for a second. Yeah. So to be in the middle of it and to be you and to have the life you live must be such a mad... Yeah. I can't even really
But also kind of a relief,
A relief, yeah.
When I scored, I was like... Oh, thank God! It's off now. It's off the shoulders now.
Yeah.
So that always felt great. I remember one game we played Liverpool here. I think it was Johnny Haynes. Maybe he passed away certain years, or
right. Yeah,
I can't remember. But we beat them 2-0, Liverpool, and I scored, and Bournemouth scored, and before that game, I just felt I'm gonna score.
Yeah, you felt it.
And my mom was not well at the time. She was in hospital, in and out. And just obviously, I scored that goal. I was just like, that's your medicine. Because I know she's going to text me after the game. Have you scored? Have you scored? So, yeah, that was very a special day as well. And obviously, we won 2-0. And, it was a great day. Sunny. Oh, I remember that game. Like it was yesterday. Honestly, it was a great game.
And when she heard you scored, what did she was?
No, obviously she was crying and emotionally, and you know how it goes. Yeah. Moms can never keep it dry. So, but yeah, it was great. Also because we got the 3 points, Cookie was happy because I've told Cookie what was going on back home, and it was an excellent game.
Wow,
It makes sense as well. Why? I mean, again, you said in the past that. You didn't really have a relationship with any other manager like you did with Chris Coleman, but also when you left to other clubs, you weren't quite feeling it. The fact that you said you felt alone, every time you scored, you're like, I'm alone, I'm doing this alone. Yeah. Having someone like Chris Coleman and a club like Fulham, I know a lot of people say this about their own clubs, but it does feel like quite a close, supportive family club. I suppose I would say that.
There's no lie. I went to Watford, I went to Leicester. Nothing feel like Fulham, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
No chance. It's a different feeling here. Different feeling. You just felt like, I don't know, you just feel like an old house who has a lot of character in it. And you don't want to sell certain things in the house, even though it needs
sentimental.
It needs refreshing. You just want to keep hold of it. That's what I felt here. Even though playing Lefters Road, when I came to Craven Cottage, I mean, it's great, man. Obviously, even now, speaking to the old supporters, we have some a groups app. Just the way the passion that they speak about the football club is totally different. They just really love this football club. It's crazy.
What a great way to describe Craven Cottage. I haven't ever heard anyone describe it like that. It's exactly.
But that's what I felt, honestly. Even now coming back, they ask me autograph, and just the way they ask it is so nice way. Very nice way, So it's good feeling.
You were also the top goal scorer in 2005-06, which is a big achievement because you were actually starting a lot of the games from the bench in that season. Do you reflect on that and think, oh, I could, if I was starting games, how many goals would I have scored?
Yeah, it was a frustrating season, and that's what I said on the way. Me and Cookie butts heads sometimes, but he just felt he needed another striker. Helgeson and McBride at the time, and I felt I was better. But like I said, to prove you are the better, you have to score goals, and I did that this season. But then,
is that when that fight happened in that season?
Yeah, because a few other clubs in the Premier League wanted me. Man City came in for me. They made a bid. Tottenham, and no. Cookie said in the end, you're going nowhere, you're going to stay because I need 3 strikers. And I was frustrated. I wanted to leave because I wanted to play, not because I wanted to leave Fulham. I wanted to play games. So yeah, like I said, of course, that season I really felt everything what I touched was gold.
Right.
Just everything just went my way, and yeah, it was a great season actually because should have scored more, but yeah, it was nice to get 11. I think. Yeah,
Was it 11? Yeah,
11,
from the bench.
and then 2 or 3 in the FA Cup, so it was like 14 goals in the season. Was
Great.
Was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, beautiful.
So that must have made the decision to move on quite tough. So what was one point, because you obviously you were managed by a few different managers in your time here, weren't you? So obviously after Coleman, you had Laurie Sanchez. How was your relationship with him? Obviously it was a very tough time with him.
I made one big mistake, but still looking back, I wouldn't change what I've done. I remember Cookie left, got a text from can't remember one press woman, Sarah Brooks. Mm-hmm. She texted me out the night they sacked him. Well, have you heard? I said, what? Well, Cookie's gone. He's been sacked. Tomorrow morning, Laurie Sanchez is going to be in the building. So,
wow.
From emotionally as well, I just felt very shocked because I thought, even with Cookie, we can stay up and we can, we can turn things around. But obviously, the club thought a bit different about it at the time. So I remember coming to the car park before training. Sky Sports was interviewing me, and I said something I shouldn't have said. But like I said, thinking back,
what did you say, if you don't mind me asking?
I just said like there was no need to change the manager.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for me, there was no need to get a new manager in. That's what I said at the time, and obviously,
right. But I get it. You're so emotional.
I was so emotional, and then obviously,
as were the fans.
Yeah. Obviously, that didn't sit well with Laurie Sanchez. that was the end of this club. That was the end of it.
Oh,
but like I said, I'm emotionally. I have a character. I believe, and I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like in a bad way, but I just felt it. I just said, listen, it's football. People go and come, but for me, he should have stayed.
But you probably felt a loyalty to Chris.
Yeah, of course.
At the time, yeah.
Because I remember he showed loyalty to me as well, to get a new deal and, to stay in the end and fight for my shirt. He offered me, for that season, when I was top scorer, that next following season, he offered me the number 10 and number 9 shirt. I didn't take it because 15 was, it means a lot to me because that's when my father passed away, so that number was nobody can touch that. But he offered me the number 9 and number 10 shirt, and then I said, okay, so this season I'm gonna play. And then 6 months later, he got the sack. So of course, that was loyalty for me to actually pay him back. So, but in the end, it was not very clever. But like I said, I wouldn't change it if I had a second chance.
Were you always that number at every club? Did you? Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes you come at a club and he's been taken, but I always put my eye on it. When he's free, I grab it.
So what's the significance? Was it the year or
no? Actually, the date.
The date.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the
right.
Date.
Okay.
So 15. So Barry Hills had it when I came.
Right.
And Cookie knew about the number, and then when Barry moved on, I took the number straight away.
Right.
So it was no brainer at the time for me. So yeah, even at 20, was an old striker who had the number when I came to the squad. And then he left that summer. I took the number as well. So yeah, it was always available. Pretty quick.
Did your dad like football? Do you know? Did your dad
he was actually a good footballer.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a good footballer. Back home, he was playing not professionally, but he was pretty good. That's what I heard. That's what my mom told me. He had talent and he was strong, big, technical. So
right.
But yeah, like I said, I was too young, obviously, to think about playing football. Yeah, like play with a ball and kick a ball around in the park, but not really thinking to become a professional footballer. That just came overnight when I arrived in Holland.
Incredible. Have you kept lots of Fulham stuff? Are you sentimental? Do you keep kits?
Yeah, all my jersey, I still have it. My mom's house.
Really, yeah.
So when I visit her, she always, you want to take it back? I said, no, just leave it here. It's
great.
Something for you to keep hold of, and she always.
That's brilliant, man.
She has it, so it's great.
Useful. One nice little bit of quirk of Fulham history is that obviously you're Collins John, and another Fulham legend is John Collins.
Yeah.
And when you first played, you were unveiled together or something like that?
It was at Loftus Road.
Right.
Obviously, the signing was kind of like put together, and I had to walk into the pitch with him. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
The name obviously, another way around, and that was a funny day as well. That
was
very funny. First time met him, and it was a good day.
Yeah, lovely.
That's brilliant. That's a very Fulham thing to do.
Well, to have John Collins
together,
John.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because I still say it the wrong way around sometimes. But anyway.
And it's weird because a few years back, or maybe 4 or 5 years back, he played at the World Cup against Brazil with Scotland.
Yeah.
And he had a blonde hair.
Yeah.
So actually, 4 years later to meet Max, the same
exactly.
page was actually crazy.
Yeah,
you can never thought about this kind of thing.
It's a weird crossover.
Weird crossover is crazy. Yeah, but that was it was a nice day.
And you know, another lovely thing to do because people have memories of it is we'll show the footage as well. But the Middlesbrough goal, talk us through that.
Yeah, was a great goal. Don't get me wrong. I also assist that game to Papa Boubab Diop. Rest in peace, Papa. So I gave a corner. Don't get me wrong. Normal striker should head the ball in, but Cookie said you got a good kick, so you can take the corners as well. So I assist Papa. Yeah, so I got the goal. I mean, I don't think it was my best goal. My best goal is still think away to Charlton.
Right.
Was on my birthday. Got the ball from Steve Montbronc and I just a volley. But this goal was, I can understand a lot of people say this is the best goal because it was, spectacular and, hit the post and then went in. But everything was just emotion at the time. I never thought about it, what I'm going to do. I got in my chest. I just thought, just give it a try. And then obviously it went in.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't get me wrong, it was a great goal. But if I have to pick one goal, I will have to pick the Charlton goal. But
because it was your birthday, do you think?
Birthday. And guess what? My mum was in the stand.
No way.
Yes. Because it was my birthday. She was obviously in London in the stand scoring. So that was everything special. And we drew that game.
Do that in front of your mum, mate. To have her over. And we're hearing what you've been saying.
And we drew that game 1-1. It's better to lose, isn't it? Because Middlesbrough, we lost that game.
Right, yeah.
But it was 2 great goals. But Middlesbrough goal was special.
Did you look up when you went to celebrate?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You weren't celebrating alone this time. Were you celebrating to her?
Yeah, to her. I walked up to the dugout because Steve King, everybody knew what kind of day that was for me. So obviously I sprinted to the dugout, hugged Steve King, and then my mom was sitting just behind there. So that goal was just full of emotion.
Oh, man.
It was great. But everybody, just the full squad, just jumped on me. So that was a great goal. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Great goal. Yeah.
Something we like to do with players in positions. If you do a Fulham dream team and you're up front and you need a strike partner from any time in Fulham's history,
that's easy.
Oh,
okay. We don't even have
here
to
he
give
comes.
Options. Normally we do some options.
Normally I throw some options out.
No, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of 100%. There are maybe a lot of better players than McBride did, but the connection we had in the pitch was unreal. Even outside the pitch, what a great guy. Played at Chicago Fire also with him.
All right.
Later on in my career. So 100% McBride.
Connection.
Really?
Also as a human being as well, not just the quality on a football pitch, but as a human being, he was excellent. Honestly,
right?
Yeah. He was top.
Like dependable, solid guy, just
just family man.
Yeah.
But understand the game.
Yeah.
Picks you up when you're down, feels it when you had a bad sleep. He knew everything. Honestly.
Yeah.
He could just see to you. Let's say on a Friday, you would do like a setup before the game the following day. He would just know if you're not into it. Okay, you know what? I do the channel run. You know what? You stay. I go. Like he was always helping others to become better at the time. So he was very good.
Amazing.
Very good. And obviously his flick on. I scored so many goals of it as well.
Yeah. Right.
So lump it back in the days.
And off his shoulder.
He was excellent at that. So he definitely my strike partner.
And it was a really beautiful thing that you've come from such different backgrounds. You're in London and you're reading each other. There's a human connection is incredible about that, isn't it?
We signed at the same time.
Right.
So when I signed, actually the day when I signed, we were watching the game against Everton at Loftus Road together in a lounge. Right. So we stayed in a hotel as well and in Richmond. So has to be McBride.
Are you still in touch with him?
Yeah. We still speak.
Man. So good to hear.
100% McBride.
Love that.
Yeah.
Last thing I guess would be. Oh, sorry, go on.
No.
Last one to ask is: do you watch Fulham now? What do you think of Fulham at the moment? Is it one of the best Fulham teams you've seen? What do you think they can achieve?
I had that question a few weeks back. It's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mark Silva has done an unbelievable job this year. Also previous years as well, but this year they look solid. Every game they can just win.
Yeah.
But you have to give it to that season when the final Europa Cup, Europa League, with Troy Hodgson, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say the best team ever, but yeah, it's up there.
They're up there.
It's up there. Like I said, every opponent that play,
Yeah.
you think, you know what? It's not Fulham for back in the days, underdogs. They can actually win this game.
They're in this, man.
exactly.
That switch is amazing to see. Honestly, it makes me proud because, you know, I was part of this beautiful club.
Man.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Man, it has.
It's so good talking to you.
And I should just quickly say, on behalf of Fulham fans everywhere, thank you for what you achieved at this club, man, what you gave everyone, because it's always beautiful to see you here. And I know everyone will be screaming at camera to say that to you, man. So thank you, mate.
Appreciate it, man.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, much love.
Collins John there, I mean, just such a lovely guy. And what's really nice, you know, knowing his backstory and knowing coming over here and everything he'd been through, you really felt it in the way he celebrated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you felt almost that kind of the weight of the history he'd been through of just everything every time he scored. And it was, he left it all out on the field. What a guy.
Not that it's for me to make these decisions, Ivan, but there must be some sort of a ambassadorial role for College John at Fulham Football Club at some point. It felt like he's sort of part of the furniture and should be back at Fulham more often. But that'll be up to someone with a pay grade much above my station. So next week, I'm very happy to say we've got last year's player of the season, potentially even this year's player of the season, Jedi Anthony Robinson, on the show.
I'm sort of dreading this one, mate, if I'm honest.
Well, yeah. So look, what we found out on the morning of training is that there's a lot more strings to Jedi's bow than just football. One of which is he's really good at chess. So we sent James down to go get a chessboard. I don't know, he was driving around to get one. He found a chessboard, brought it back, and we thought we'd have a what would you call it? Multi-dimensional, multifaceted conversation with Anthony Robinson, where he's playing chess against Ivan. Well, we were both supposed to be asking questions, but let's just say we found out that Ivan can't multitask while playing chess.
Not at all. And I don't want to, we'll leave it as a cliffhanger. Like, who won? Is it, Anthony Robinson, all-round talented bloke, or me, who can't multitask? I'm just going to say as a disclaimer, I was quite tired that day, 2 young kids and all that.
We'll leave that cliffhanger there. See you next week.